No, he's cool. What do you mean?
You got the turret guy, you got the one dude who tosses out grenades, you got Elsa, but then there's characters like Bunny. Now, she's been getting a lot of attention for reasons other than her playstyle, but genuinely, I think she's like one of the coolest design classes that I've played in a looter shooter.
I would agree. If I would play another character, it'd be Bunny.
I'm being serious here. The class is built around the concept of charging up this electric meter and then using it to deal massive area of effect damage. So as you run, you store up this built electricity, and then your various abilities will deal increased damage based on your charge level. So this includes things like lightning emission, which will pulsate AoE damage for every 7 meters you move, or thrill bomb, where you can get an extra burst of AoE damage on call. And then on top of that, after landing from a double jump, you also deal...
By the way, Ajax is better. Like, it just does more damage. It's the best one.
Additional AoE damage. Cool. And then you couple those mechanics with the speed of light ability, which increases your run speed 50%. And the faster you run, the quicker you build up electricity, and then the more frequently you're pulsating those every 7 meter AoE explosions. It's just crazy, dude. You can also couple this with the grapple hook, and for every 7 meters you move while grappling, you will also pulsate additional damage. The end result, like playing this character when all the pieces come together, is you're running around constantly at 150% move speed, then grapple hooking all over the place to get additional bursts of AoE damage every 7 meters you ever move, and then pulsating additional AoE damage on top of that, all while double jumping, because whenever you land you do more AoE damage, and it's just crazy. Like it's a real lot of fun, interesting class.
It's a fun class to play, and that's what matters, right? It's fun to play the game.
Design. Then we've got the boss fights that are known as Void Intercept Battles. These I have found varied and interesting. Outside of the fact that every one of them take place in this like single digital arena, I actually thought overall these boss encounters are really good. Interesting mechanics.
Are the boss encounters good? I think that they are. I'm trying to think. I don't like that one dick sucker that teleports and then he does the frozen thing. That's so annoying. I hate that fucking ability. That's the only one that I didn't like. Yeah, other than that, the other ones were really fun.
With multiple phases, even the first couple of boss fights, because you unlock them as you level up. The first few ones can be quite challenging, and it just gets even harder from there. They look cool, they're well animated, and some of them, especially later on, actually really require coordination and effort with your group. I also like the world and...
I guess I got lucky, man. Like, I've one-shot every single one of them, pretty much. Like, I think I wiped on, like, there was one, I think his name was, like, the Destroyer or, the Consumer or something, and he would heal. Try hard mode? I will. Did you do Hanged Man? No, that's the last one. I haven't done him yet.
Environments, it kind of reminds me a bit of Anthem or Skyforge, if you ever played that heap. Another bad game that I enjoyed. Lots of cool looking like ancient structures and ruins. They got the sci-fi twist all throughout, and they're in these varied settings and locations. You've got, like,
in this game
regions
sucks.
with the European inspired architecture, deserts with lots of craggy rocks and metallic industrial buildings, foggy forests that remind me a lot of like the Pacific Northwest area of the US. I mean, all around it's a cool play space. There's cool structures, a cool setting, maybe a tad generic feeling at times, but overall I enjoyed moving around this world. Top of that too, I think the graphics are pretty solid. Like the launch update, I think it looks good. The game ran really well for me. And then just finally, like I do like the general structure of the game, right? So you got those shared open world spaces. I've always been a fan of this, running around, fighting enemies, doing quests, and then just having random people show up and all of a sudden you're working together to complete this one objective. It's a lot of...
I think the open world objectives in this game function extremely well. And whenever you think about them in terms of like how well do they play, right? Is there friction? There is almost no friction in making them, right? It's never like somebody joins and like ruins your run. Like, I actually think it's very well designed.
Fun. You go around the world from one quest marker to another, you then clear the zone, and then at the end you basically get what is a dungeon run. You finish that, you move on to the next zone.
The early level dungeons are trash. The later ones in the game are really cool, but the early ones are literal trash. I think they fucked up with this. They should have made better dungeons at the early game. I think you're going to have people thinking they're boring, and they're not going to get to the late game because of it.
And that's the progress through this game, interwoven with some story.
On top of that,
you can do Void Intercept Battles in between. They're actually required as you progress, as well as things like special operation missions for grinding resources and materials. And then you're also working on your character. You're equipping new weapons when they come up. You're playing with your mods, tinkering your build via that system, enhancing it through other means. And hey, if you like grindy loot games, this is a grindy loot game. There's a lot of different things to grind, especially those 1 to 3% drop chance items you need to unlock certain descendants and weapons, but that's another story, which we will get to here in a second. But yeah, as I said, there's plenty I think this game does well. I should enjoy the First Descendant. This video should be, dude, I'm hyped. This game's awesome. I love it. But I don't. And there's a few reasons why. For starters, many of the issues that I had back in early beta tests have persisted through long.
Here's one issue. I don't know if he's going to bring this up. I don't think you get enough purple ammo. And I think that if you got more purple ammo, the game would be more fun. I just want more purple ammo so I can use that gun more. Because I think it's cool to use the sniper rifle or the rocket launcher. Like, that's it. It would just be cool.
And I'm not just going to complain here. I will provide feedback as we move throughout as well. So there's some smaller things. Like, for one, there's just a lot of rough edges around this game. Things like animation, sound effects, even like the ambient noise. None of this struck me as particularly good. I think this stuff, it's just a little rough. Also, the dialogue. I mean, this is just flat out bad. Like, it's not... The VL, the dialogue is not...
I skipped the story for this game. What I understand, so basically, think about a Korean version of the, this is the way the story is, this is my understanding of the story, is that, so the Zack Snyder Justice League with Darkseid, imagine that, but it's this game and it's Korean. That's literally it.
Not good. Also pretty sure it's not synced up with mouth movement unless I was having a stroke the entire time I was playing this game. Also, the game feels kind of stiff across the board. It's a little harder to pin this one down. I can't really find the exact words, but I would just say something about the way like the characters and enemies move, NPC animations. There's like a lack of natural feel to it all. Just not fluid enough.
I think that he's right if you compare it to a game like Remnant 2. I would say Remnant 2 is superior in every single way in terms of combat to this game.
Maybe just not enough to those animations, not enough
Destiny?
Is that a word for it? I don't know, but is any of this game breaking? No, not really, but again, it is what I would call rough around the edges. Simple fix here, continue polishing the game, work on this stuff, improve it as time goes on with patches, easy, right? The biggest hangups for me though, I don't know if they're going to address these, but maybe we'll see. Okay, so the open world, it still feels lifeless. This was the case in the beta. People told me it was addressed and they fixed it. I've not really seen that in the past 3 days while playing. Fact is, if you or someone in the instance of the zone that you're in hasn't started a quest, there's just absolutely nothing happening in these open zones. There's nothing going on.
The reason and the problem is that the amount of people that can be in the zone is very low. You need to have more people in the zone at one time, right? It's like you could have like, 10 zones with 50 people or 50 zones with 10 people. It's better to have 10 zones with 50 people because it feels better. If the game can run that, that's just infinitely better.
You're not seeing roaming packs of NPCs, not even static groups taking a hold in locations. There's no dynamic events occurring, no puzzles to solve. There's no wildlife running around, those little flourishes that really add to a game feeling alive and full. Literally nothing.
That's a really good point he's bringing up. Everything that he's saying here, I totally agree with. He's right. It feels too theme parky.
Is happening on these maps. It's all just flat, dead landscape. And I don't mean flat like technically flat. I just mean like it's like flatline. It just feels dead unless someone has started a quest. The world only populates with objectives, with enemies, with events if you, or like I said, another player in your instance, if someone starts a mission at those static markers, that then will spawn in specific enemies and objectives for a mission. Whereas, for example, take a look at Destiny. This game gets compared to that a lot. Whenever you go into a zone in Destiny, the entire zone is full of activity from the start. Things are happening. NPCs are holding up locations. There are packs roaming.
Yeah, it feels dynamic. Like, this is cool.
around. You got public events constantly going off. And then if a player starts the mission equivalent in Destiny, if a player starts a patrol in Destiny, that then adds another layer on top of what already feels like a vibrant lived-in world. Recommendation for the First Descendant: populate the world. Fill it with stuff beyond what happens when someone begins a mission. Also, I would say visually, I thought
100% true. Like, the best thing that First Descendant has is roaming packs of 4 like non-elite mobs, and then you kill them and they don't drop anything. That's their open world. It's bad.
The play space in the...
Here's the thing, this game isn't Destiny, it's the First Descendant. Really? So you're saying that they're not the same game? Thanks. I don't think we knew that. So yeah, that insight really changes the way that we're going to look at things.
World feels a bit sparse, and specifically I'm talking about the amount and the density of things in the environment, things like foliage and trees and buildings. It just all feels a little light, and also the scaling's a little weird. It kind of makes the game feel a little dated, despite the fact that it does graphically look pretty good. Recommendation here: fill the play space so it feels less like a diorama and more like a living video game world that we're moving through. My second major problem with the game right now has been the quest design is just straight up boring. I'm really...
What do you mean? You don't like doing the same quests for the entire game? There's like 7 different quests that are in the game, and you just do those 7 quests in different areas. I don't know if I can go this far. Can I go this far? Can I say that New World had more diversity in quest design? Can I say that? I feel like it's not too far away. I mean, maybe not. Like, it's close.
Specifically honing in on the pacing here. So as you play through the game, like I mentioned, you're moving through zones, going from one quest marker to another. You complete them all, you do a little dungeon, and then you move on to the next zone. Maybe you got to go back to town, but that's the general flow. Every quest you do, no matter the zone that you're in, it's all like the same 4 things. They're either saying kill things, defend a location, collect stuff and bring it back, or capture a location, static or moving.
Get the
every
balls.
single quest in
Collect
the game,
balls.
in every single zone, boils down to these 4 things. Now, this is pretty standard stuff, right? This isn't unique to the First Descendant. Most MMOs, most looter shooters, quests boil down to those 4 basic things. My biggest issue is the pacing is very, very bad. It's too slow. While you're playing, for starters, everything dies incredibly fast as you're going through that initial progression. This changes as you move into the harder modes and as you play higher level.
This guy was such a fucking dick sucker. I hated this piece of shit. I was here for like 30 minutes. Oh my god. Like, I really hope he brings up the boss design. These balls, bro, the game would be instantly better if they just took away every instance of the balls. Because there's 3 different versions, right? There's kill all of the balls at the same time, kill the balls in the order that they spawned, or kill the balls and there's a rotating immunity barrier for the balls. It's too many fucking balls. The mechanic sucks. Get rid of it. It's 1,000 times better whenever the boss does the next phase and he summons a bunch of ads. You have to kill all the ads before you can damage the boss. That's fun. The balls are not fun.
Like the horde mode missions, things aren't dying very quickly, but as you're going through the zones, there's just so much downtime. You're killing things instantly, and there's so much downtime between respawns, between timers counting down, between things moving. The result of which, frankly, was just unengaging and a lot of time just standing around feeling pretty bored because there wasn't anything to do. We were just waiting for a timer to tick down. A group of enemies would show up, we would one-shot them like in less than 5 seconds, and then we would be standing there waiting another 20 or 30 seconds for respawn.
I think the reason why that happens is because the quests are being designed for 1 person, but up to 4 people can do them. Because whenever I played solo, I almost never had a ton of downtime.